back up.
Is that still too spread out?
Come on, TJ.
Bud Johnson, he can stand in the back as he sticks out over there.
Hey, TJ, that's no lap. Towards the back, right? Yeah.
Ready, go!
That's
One time, yeah! Ready? Everybody happy?
Get the banana in your pocket, TJ.
TJ needs to be in.
The one you got from the left, you know, he used to come down to see us. Come on, TJ. I'm sitting in this car in the morning. I'm right behind Bud Johnson. I'm right over here behind Bud Johnson. There you go. That's after the contest when this is all over.
Are you still taking pictures?
Yeah, that's it! Hold on, one more!
You went to Max the Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, I don't know. Have they taken the one yet?
No, he's moving this way.
All right.
Ready? Ready? Ready?
You got it nailed, Jeff.
Ready?
The tents, you know, they're all framed. Penny, I got Frank Penny's and Dean Crow and Jimmy Nick, and the guy come in goose hunting time. He said, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, you know, I was behind the bar. He said, I saw 3 snowshoe tracks down there, not 2, not 4, but 3 snowshoe tracks. I said, that's right. He said, hell, you're crazier than I am. I said, no, that's George Dahlquist. He puts a snowshoe on each crutch and one on his leg. And I says, he can travel faster on this snow than you can.
When was that?
Oh, that's been 40 years ago, I guess. I don't know. Close to it? No. Yeah, close to it, yeah.
So how do you guys
About
know
48 or 49, somewhere along there.
How do you two know each other?
Oh, I think we just kind of became acquaintances. I knew him when I was on the sheriff's department.
Yeah. He used to be deputy sheriff of this county.
When was that?
Oh, about 24 years. I retired about 5 years ago. I was one of the first deputies here in Mammoth.
First one was Lloyd Nickel.
Yep.
Lloyd Nickel was the deputy from Crestview to the Inyo county line.
Yep.
The only one.
Was he here in
Lloyd
Mammoth?
Nickel, yeah, he owned the lumber
Lloyd
yard
Nichols,
here.
he owned a lumber yard.
Lumber yard and gift shop, and Florence owned the gift shop and everything.
Florence was one of the first realtors.
Florence tried to make me rich, and I wouldn't listen to her.
She didn't. She tried to make several of us rich.
I had $20,000 in my hip pocket, and Florence knew it when they started selling all these property lots for $300 to $500 something. Said, Clyde, buy 10 or 12 of those lots. They're going to be worth a lot of money. I said, Florence, I need them lots like I need a hole in my head. She said, you're going to go spend that money on the girls and everything, having a good time? Buy those lots, going to be worth a lot of money. I said, Florence, I told you I need them like I need a hole in my head. Well, boy, she tried to make me rich, but I wouldn't listen to her.
What year did you two meet? Do you remember?
Oh, I imagine about in the early
Late
50s
or sometime.
No, around 56, 57,
Something
I think.
like
Yeah,
that.
somewhere along in there.
In a tavern on the fish,
Well-
out fishing?
Well, 56, I was had a poker game in the old High Sierra, and I run the bar there in the daytime for Roy and Eunice Crandall. And then next door was the old Penquin then. The VI swallowed all that up. Later on, the Penquin become Crandall's. Roy and Eunice Crandall bought it after they went out of the High Sierra, the old High Sierra Inn. Yeah.
And that finally became the
That's the VI.
Village Inn.
Yeah.
VI. Village
Yeah.
Inn.
So you
Village
grew up
Inn.
there?
That's when Claudius bought it off the Crandalls. He named it Village Inn. Yeah.
Village Inn.
Village
George
Inn.
Claudius.
Yeah, George Claudius. Yeah.
What about Penny's Tavern? What was that?
Penny's Tavern.
He can
Frank
tell
and
you about
Bobby
that.
Penny built that and got it open in 1937. He was still building on it when I first met him in 37. And later on, he sold it. When they sold out, they sold a guy named Bob Niquette, and he renamed it the Mammoth Tavern. And in turn, when he sold it to Bill Tregelon and Smokey Backey. You got pictures of both of them. I sent up here. You know, they got them in the deal there. And then, in turn, Niquette sold it to Dean Crow. Just picture Dean Crow in there too that I sent up. Yeah.
What was Penny's Tavern like? What was it
Oh
really
hell,
like?
it was the spot.
The center of town.
It was a grocery store, a meat counter, everything right in the bar room part of it. Dining room, meat counter, grocery store, saloon, everything all in one. All in one. Big fireplace, poker game right out at night time, especially deer season. All in one big room, then rooms upstairs, yeah. Yeah,
Wild parties?
yeah, wild parties.
Kind of
Real
escapades as a
I
shirt.
saw Dean Crow shoot out the lights in his own place one time when the power plant was failing. He told the cook, go turn off the big light going up the stairway at the end of the meat counter. Told him about 3 or 4 times to go turn it off, and the guy started talking to someone, didn't do it, and old Dean grabbed the deer rifle and shot out the light. Everybody's knocking out the windows trying to get out of the place.
When was that?
Oh, that was about 48, I guess. 40. Oh no, before that, no. Yeah, long about that time, about 48.
But what kind of duties did you guys have as deputy sheriff? Was there a lot of crime back then?
Not really, no.
Not like
It was
is
kind of
now.
funny. No, it wasn't. You knew everybody. Everybody knew me. I knew everybody. And heck, I did a lot more taking car keys away and taking them home
Taking 'em
and taxiing them
home,
home
just
than I ever took anybody to jail.
all over
jail
the
was all the
country
way to
this way.
Bridgeport on that old highway, and we didn't have the substation down here, so no.
That was old Reese May's place. Old Reese May used to live.
That's right.
I heard something
I
about
actually chained a couple of people.
Yeah.
I actually handcuffed a couple of people to a tree out there in that shady rest park and let them sober up, and then went back and unlocked them and let them go home. And you imagine doing that now? I'd have the
Like
Civil
Bishop.
Liberties Union on me. They would own the sheriff's office, and we just, the guy had too much and got too nasty, so hell, the sheriff said take him out there and let him cool off in the woods.
That's the way
Handcuffed him around a
old
tree.
Big Thorn, Cecil Thorn, and after him,
Cecil
Bill
taught me
Evans,
how to
yeah.
do that.
Cecil,
Cecil
Big
says,
Cecil
he says, "You had
Thorn, the
trouble with
sheriff. He was one of the greatest, yeah.
Time
He
to a
was one of the
tree.
greatest, yeah. And so was Bill Lewis too. Evans, Bill Evans. Yeah.
Evans, I worked for
Bill
16
Evans.
years for Evans.
Evans, a good
Fine
man. Yeah.
sheriff.
Big Walt just died here
I heard that.
this last month, huh? Yeah.
No, it was, you'd have minor things once in a while, but in those days, heck,
Yeah.
everybody pretty much knew everybody. You didn't lock doors.
Yeah,
You didn't,
no.
It just was kind of easy, and everybody was mellow. And gosh, when I went to work here, I don't think there was more than 300 people in this town, in the whole town.
Oh, we used to have a lot of fun. See, in the wintertime, they didn't keep the road open in here. And they used to all park the cars down at Casa Diablo. And then they'd call out on the old crank phones, and that time, I put in a lot of time at Hilton Creek Lodge. You go into town, get me this, get me, this, that, they give you a shopping list. Some of the things, these women that lived back in there snowed in, they wanted to surprise you. But you take them up there and put them in their cars at Casa Diablo. Everybody had their cars parked down there, and then if they didn't get the time to clean out the road, if it had to put in all the time on the main highway, keeping it open. Old Pop Wells, he was a guy over the highway highway maintenance foreman,
Road department.
You take it and put it in their cars. Their cars are always unlocked, and you put their groceries or this, anything they wanted in there, they'd snowshoe out and get them and carry them back into Mammoth. Snowshoes, yeah. Tex Cushion, the man who owned the dog sleds, he was a good friend of mine. Everything, he's dead now. Last time I saw him was at Nancy and Max's, Dan and Max's 50th wedding anniversary. Down at their place at that time. That's the last time I saw Tex. I got him up there twice though, out of Wrightwood. He was a pallbearer for Frank Penny and a pallbearer for Frank Tregelon. I took care of the pallbearers for both of them, when they passed away. Old Tex Question, old dog sled.
He actually ran dogs in here.
You know his name?
He'd go all the way down there to Tom's place.
You know his real
bring in
name?
Supplies.
You know his real name?
Yeah, I did know.
Henri Couchon. He got out of Canada, right?
French Canadian.
Well, he got out of Canada when the Mounties was after him. They wanted him for murder. He got down in this country down here.
Really?
Changed his name, Tex Couchon, yeah. Andre Couchon, yeah. Is his real name, yeah.
Yeah, he had a bunch of dogs, and he'd go haul supplies from Tom's place and all the way into the
Just carry the mail
Archie
in there.
Mann's mine up here, the old Mammoth mine.
Carried the mail in. He had the mail contracts. Dog sleds bringing the mail in, yeah.
Good, Tracy? Okay, you guys, that was great.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
So you ladies both came here like around 59?
Yes.
When did you meet?
Well, I worked in the ski school with her husband, Eddie Riley, and my husband at the time would be Bud Johnson. And anyway, we were ski school friends. And in those years, it was a very small community, and everybody knew one another and socialized together. We were very close.
So what was it like when you moved up here? The hardships?
You didn't think of them as hardships, but they...
Well, I came and worked at the Mammoth Mountain Inn the first year it opened, and met my husband Eddie Riley here, and we were married, and our first daughter was born, one of the first children born here in Mammoth before the hospital was here. So
What was that like?
oh, that was very interesting. It was
At home?
Yes, at home. It was at home, and it was in March, so there was still a lot of snow on the ground, and took a ambulance trip to Bridgeport afterwards to be in the hospital.
So it came on suddenly?
Uh-huh.
What was it like? Did women get together and have social events?
Yes, we did a lot of socializing. There wasn't much else to do. I don't know how to answer these questions.
Well, just what was it like?
Yeah.
How'd you get together?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Color each other's hair? Or?
Oh, no. I mean, we had a lot in common, and then as our children got to be a little bit older, we didn't have a kindergarten in town. At the elementary school, it started at first grade, and we developed a co-op nursery school, and all of our children were in nursery school together, and we did the job of teaching them and really preparing them for first grade. Marilyn has a picture of all the co-op nursery school kids, and it was quite I think a remarkable thing that we did, because the kids otherwise wouldn't have had that learning experience. And we followed very set programs, and we raised money for the nursery school by having variety shows, and here are some of the women from the variety show right over here. Marilyn Hayden and Peggy Schatz and Mary Roser.
Why don't we just get all you ladies in
Yeah.
here and just kind of reminisce a little bit about what it was like back then?
Oh my. Variety show days.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun.
Piggy, why don't you sit down?
Yeah.
But I don't remember the exact years they were.
You sit and I'll sit on the ground. Or behind you or something.
Carol. I've got Levi's on. I can get dirty. I need to leave Carol out.
I wore my old clothes to come and clean the museum.
The variety show, what did you do? Who remembers who doing what?
We did a song and dance routine that was absolutely an extravaganza.
Oh,
We did. We had
We worked very
costumes.
hard on it.
We were just looking through all the old pictures, and they're wonderful.
Yeah.
Forgotten what we were doing.
And it was amazing how much talent came out of the woodwork. Sharon Thomas had been a professional dancer, and I don't know if she was a professional teacher, but she had the experience to be able to teach us all, you know,
The steps.
and everything.
Choreograph it all.
Yeah, she was our choreographer.
It was the grand event of the year.
Yeah, and we always staged it when the locals had very little to do. You know, it was mostly to have the locals in the audience and not outsiders, you know.
How did you get in touch with each other and let everybody know this was going on?
Oh, it was a very small place. Everybody knew. We saw each other all the time. We raised money for our nursery school, and
Make posters.
we made posters, and we rehearsed, and the husbands were always mad because we were always, where's dinner? We're rehearsing.
We worked very, very hard at this.
You talked that the town was very small and everybody knew each other. Where did you all live in relation to the town now? Did you live like on Main Street or in Old Mammoth area? Or
Well, we were spread out. Old Mammoth.
I lived on the old Tavern Road.
Yes, yeah.
Peggy and I lived in Old Mammoth. She had a lodge. What's it now?
Edelweiss Lodge.
No,
Edelweiss.
Edelweiss Lodge.
Edelweiss
And I lived back on
Old
Tamarack Street, and it wasn't paved then.
I lived on Main Street
With the Forest Service.
with the Forest Service.
Yeah.
You lived in the Forest Service.
No, I was in a land lease house over in Shady Rest.
And BJ and Eddie had built one of the, what street is on?
On Lupin.
On Lupin,
yeah.
One of the big grand houses on Lupin.
Yeah. It's still there.
It's still there.
How'd you get supplies? Were there stores here in town?
Oh, we had, first we had Shimmerhorn's Market, and then we had Buster's Market.
That was later.
What happened to Shimmerhorn?
But we
think
used
he
to
left.
take the children down to Bishop for shopping trips. We'd go once a week or once every 2 weeks and stock up, and all our drugs supplies, drugstore items we had to stock up on, and we just got used to doing that. We didn't know there was another way to do it.
We never complained, or we never thought about it that much.
It just was what you did.
And we had to shovel the snow. Our husbands were working, and I spent many times out on the roof shoveling the snow and breaking the ice dams. And
I took great pride in my snow shoveling.
Yeah.
My corners were even.
My husband bought me a lightweight axe and a lightweight shovel, so I wouldn't hurt myself.
So you wouldn't hurt yourself.
Did any of you ladies hold jobs in the town?
Oh yeah, we were all
We all
working.
worked.
Yeah.
I think we all worked. I had a
types of
resort.
jobs?
We had a resort, a summer one and a winter one also. And so as we were taking care of children, we were also cleaning units and taking care of our guests. And I think the other women were doing the same thing in other jobs. Isn't that right?
There were times when Peggy would need some extra help, and so she'd call me, and I'd run over and help her clean potties and make beds before the guests arrived an hour later, and if my help didn't show up.
Well, I helped run Manahu for a while, mismanage Manahu Lodge, which is now a subdivision, now Evergreen Street, but